Hey, and welcome to another episode of Motors and Meats. Today we're talking about the Porsche community and where you can find other like-minded enthusiasts to plug in with. Let's go for a drive. I'm headed to one of my favorite driving routes in South Mississippi, close to my house. Lots of good corners, not much traffic, not very many residences. And while we're driving, I thought we'd talk about how to get plugged in to the Porsche community. The first thing that pops into my mind is the PCA. You've got the Porsche Club of America, also the PCGB, I suppose, Porsche Club of Great Britain, and depending on what country you're in, it's going to be a different Porsche club. But that's the largest single manufacturer marquee club in the world, and it speaks volumes really about the enthusiast level of engagement in our cars. They provide a magazine that's really cool, Panorama. You get several emails throughout the month about upcoming events. There's always a once a month get together. Sometimes it's a drive, sometimes it's just a cars and coffee. And there's lots of national level events like the Amelia Island Works Reunion, and then there's the Porsche Parade. They do a raffle every so often as well. Sometimes it's a GT3, sometimes it's the new GT4 RS. And depending on how many people enter the raffle determines how many cars they actually give away. Another great place to find information about your car or about the car that you're planning on getting if you haven't quite gotten it yet is Rentec and Renlist. Those are two different websites, two different forums. I tend to lump them together a lot of times because they're very similar. Rentec seems to have a little bit more technical information, as you could imagine by the name, but both have terrific how-to forums that you can follow if you need to do some repairs on your car or upgrades, or if you just want to find other information about cars similar to yours. Great place to find that. The next thing that comes to my mind is most definitely my favorite is all of the Facebook groups. I know Facebook can have its pros and cons, but the community that you can find in those specific groups is invaluable. Lots of pictures, stories, how-to articles there as well. And a lot of you guys watching this is how I first met you guys, was through these groups. The Porsche 996 Owners Picks and Tips group, that's probably my favorite. It's definitely the most active group that I participate in. In fact, I've actually met local people through these groups. Sometimes you don't even realize how many people in your own town have the same type of car as you. But on the other side of that same coin, there's people on the other side of the world that have the same car as you and would love to share the same experiences with you that you share with the people down the street. There's other social media outlets as well. Instagram, I just changed my name. So if you followed me on Instagram under CycleMichael88, now that name's going to show up as Motors and Meats 88. I kept the 88 just because, it seemed to provide a little continuity. A really great place to find information about your car or about the car that you're looking to get or about just the community in general is YouTube. I mean, you're on it now, right? So if you just go to YouTube and search for Porsche 996, you're going to find a ton of channels devoted to that car. If you go and search for Porsche 911, you're going to find even more. Some of the channels you find will be Porsche specific. Some of them will be focused on other cars, Porsches, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all together. And some may even mix things that aren't even cars, like, I don't know, barbecue. So when you're searching YouTube and you find a channel that seems to put out a lot of content that you like, subscribe to it. It really helps out the content creator to grow the channel and to be able to provide more useful information for you to watch. I mean, really, it's a great community to be a part of. Some of my favorite channels to watch are Jay Reed, Auto Amateur. I love to watch, totally non-Porsche related, but I love to watch Daily Driven Exotics. Those guys are freaking crazy. The first channel that I really followed for Porsche content was That 911 guy, Lee Sibley. He's terrific. His channel now is called 9works. One of the channels with the best videography and photography is The Last Rasp. He's got lots of content, both air-cooled and water-cooled Porsches, and just terrific stuff. He's in Australia. Go take a look at his channel. And then looking locally, there's Cars and Coffee. You'll find these events in most every major city and even some of the smaller towns. I know we have one annually at my town in South Mississippi, but there's lots and lots of them within a short drive of here. And for this, you're going to find enthusiasts from not just Porsche, but every car. If it's a vehicle that burns gasoline or diesel, you'll find enthusiasts there. We just had our local Cars and Coffee in Hattiesburg, Mississippi 2 weeks ago, and it was a great turnout. Lots of guys with some cool JDM rides, lots of interesting trucks and Corvettes, and a small handful of Porsches as well. How do you find those Cars and Coffee groups? Well, just go to Facebook and search for Cars and Coffee. That's going to turn up anything that could possibly be within reach of where you are. I mentioned in my last video going to Atlanta to their Caffeine and Octane. 2,000 or 3,000 cars of every make and model you could imagine. So don't limit yourself to just your town. If you live in a small town, less than 100,000 people, definitely look outside to the nearest community around that, because you're going to find people from your town that go to those. And then you're going to find people from near enough by that you may want to meet up with occasionally to go for drives. The bottom line for all of this is to definitely find a way to connect to your Porsche community. These cars are so much more fun to enjoy whenever you're driving along or talking with other like-minded enthusiasts. I'm going in a couple weeks to Colorado, all the way from Mississippi, to meet up with probably 24 other Porsche enthusiasts, and we'll spend the week together driving in the mountains. And I found out this through YouTube, Facebook. So get yourself plugged in and go out and drive and have a great time. Thanks for watching.